I wanted to discuss this image Bobby Joe found on the internet because it has a direct connection to the discussions we are having in our tuning fork certification class currently in progress. As vibration healers, we should continue to discuss the importance of understanding fascia because it means so much to our craft and to working with sound healing tools like weighted tuning forks. The responses we get from putting a weighted tuning fork on the body for releasing pain-related inflammation is told within the layers of fascia, and more specifically the superfascial layer, which is the focus of this post. The image shows a side view of a person's finger separating the dermis, skin layer, from the underlying hypodermis or superficial layer. You can see how the finger is breaking up those fibrous connections between both layers. And you can also see how there are two distinct and separate layers, the dermis and the superficial fascia. Then underneath we can see another layer called the fascia lata, and otherwise known as the deep fascial layer, separating the superficial fascia from the deeper tissue like the muscle. Let's turn our focus back to the yellow layer of superficial fascia. This layer is also referred to as the adipose layer, since the adipose fatty lipids are stored in the cells inside of this layer. Most people think of this layer as being part of the skin, and also view it as the adipose layer with a focus on the fat within the layer. Now is the time to change your perspective for the purpose of healing with sound and vibration-based tools like weighted tuning forks. When we use our hands to sense for differences in tissue structure, the inflammation felt underneath the skin is the yellow layer. Only the lead character in our story is not the yellow fatty stuff. It's the fiber network that holds the fat cells in place. The superficial fascia layer. That's right. The fibers, the tight knots, the release, the strawberries through a straw are all coming from the fibers surrounding the fat. We need to start thinking about the fibers themselves, since they are the true actor in the search for inflammation and pain. These fibers are the collagen networks you saw in the documentary earlier this week. Although it looks like the fascia is packed with adipose, there is much more going on in this layer, and it surrounds our entire body just underneath the skin. This superficial fascia layer has its own communication system, separate from the nervous and cardiovascular system. It shares space with both of those systems along with a myriad of other substances, like the interstitial fluids attempting to flow into the surrounding tissues for nourishment and back through the return route through the lymphatic system. Imagine how crowded this layer must be in normal situations. But then things go bad, and the fascia tightens, folds, knots up, and secretes its own fluids to control the flow of the interstitial fluids. The fascia cells, or fibroblasts, they create this very unique gluey substance that can modify itself into varying thicknesses, from very thick to watery based on pressure and movement. When we apply a weighted tuning fork on these areas, the superficial fibers, the pressure and vibration causes the thickened fluids or ground substances to turn into watery liquid, similar to shaking up a bottle of ketchup. This process accounts for the release, the rapid release, and the strawberries through a straw phenomenon that we feel with our sensing hand. Now you've just released a bit of pressure and allowed some blocked interstitial fluid to begin flowing in the right direction, the lymphatic system to start flowing again to clean and remove it. And the nerve endings can stop sending pain signals. These are just some of the things to think about and comment on for a deeper understanding.